In the next segment of It's Your Life, Connie Denning is going to talk about money. Connie is a valuations engineer and does most of the number crunching here at Marion Oil and Gas. It turns out being able to do a little bit of math is pretty important in life, so heed her wise and wily ways. Before watching this segment, please pause the video and complete the following student activities. First, do some research on how much it costs to live and create a budget that a person would have to live with if they were making minimum wage. Can you live with that kind of life if you chose to drop out of school? Second, do some research on the value of an education. See for yourself how much more you will earn with a high school or college degree than as a dropout. Without further ado, here's Connie.
So welcome. My name is Connie, and we're going to talk a little bit today about choices, as you've been talking about, but this one is a little bit more tuned to your financial situation in the future. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the exercise that you were assigned, and that was to do a little bit of research about what your budget would look like if you, heaven forbid, dropped out of school right now, which I know none of you are planning to do. And here is our budget. And we're calling it Party Like a Dropout. So you think that you're going to be able to be out of school, you have all this free time, you'll be able to party, but here's a little bit of a reality check, okay? So if you drop out of high school, we're looking at maybe about $8 an hour. And so that's going to be about $1,280 a month. And roughly, rounded up a little bit, that's going to be about $16,000 per year. And that may seem to you right now, living at home or wherever you're living, you're sitting on the toilet and you look over and there's the toilet paper. You didn't have to go get that. You don't even know how much it costs. You don't even know where it comes from. So these are things that are going to become a big reality to you if you drop out of high school. So let's talk about those expenses that you researched. All right, so number one that's going to come right off the top is the taxes to the United States and to the state of New Mexico. You're going to have to pay taxes, everybody does. The next thing is going to be rent. Now we've assigned that about $400. A real entry-level place. It's going to be really small. We would hope that it was properly maintained, but who knows? So you're not going to have a great place to live. It'll be kind of subsistence living at that point. Then you're going to have utilities. You want to be warm. You want to have some lights. You want to be able to plug things in, although you're not going to have a lot to plug in because you're not going to have much money. But then there's water, sewer, trash pickup, all those things that you have to have just for everyday life. And then you're going to have to eat, aren't you? We're going to assume about $10 a day for food, and so that's about $300 a month. Then you're going to have a little stuff. You're going to have some toothpaste. You're going to have toilet paper. You're going to have lotion, deodorant, soap, all those kinds of things. Maybe not, but if you don't have some of those things, you're going to kind of be stinky and maybe not have many friends. So then you're going to have a car probably. So look at this. There's $1,280 that you've spent here, and there's $1,280 that is your whole monthly income. So wow, what do you have left? You got nothing left. And look what you haven't bought. You haven't bought health insurance. You don't have a cell phone. You don't have any streaming services. There's no Netflix. There's no Hulu. There's nothing. There's no TV. Well, you probably can't afford a TV anyway. There's no entertainment at all. You can't go to the movies. You can't go out on a date. You can't eat any. There's just no money for anything. You can't buy any clothes if your clothes all wear out. You can't buy any clothes. You can't get your hair cut. You can't get your hair dyed. You can't get a tat. You can't do any of the things that just grooming things you want to do. You certainly can't go on a vacation, and you certainly don't have any money for any extras. And so this is probably not really the kind of life that you're interested in having. So this budget is not very attractive to me. How about you? All right, so we had another assignment, and that assignment was all about the benefits of higher education. Education pays. Yes, sir, it certainly does. Because we talked about that $16,000 that would be what you'd be making now as a teenager, just starting out. It may be your fast food job or whatever. But there are people who have, not had an education, not finished high school, and they are 70 years old. And so all those people lumped together, the average of people who didn't finish high school make a little under $31,000 a year. Okay? So if you get if you just go on, if you just finish that 4 years of high school, that's going to raise you up to nearly $39,000. That's a huge chunk for just a little bit more time at your age right now. So then if you get a little bit of college, then that jumps you up to $43,000 a year. But then another big leap is a 2-year degree. So here's the deal. You can go to San Juan College right here in Farmington, and you could end up with an average of $46,000 a year. Now you can say, I'm not smart enough to go to college, I don't have enough money to go to college. You can come up with all kinds of excuses. But I'm telling you right now that there are people who want to support you. If you're struggling academically, there are tutors, there are teachers, you can get help in lots of places. So don't give me the excuse that you're not smart enough, because you are. If you've made it this far in school, you can, with a little bit of hard work and effort, you can get that 2-year degree. The other thing is, there is money out there. There are grants, there are loans, there's free money, there's the lottery scholarship. So you can go to college if you want to. And then if you get a master's degree, a professional degree, a doctorate degree, those just go up and up and up. The other kind of added bonus here that you may not be thinking about is, I don't know, you're probably hearing now during COVID about unemployment rates and things like that. Well, these jobs, when there's high unemployment, are the first to go. So even this is when things were very good, you're going to have a 5.4% unemployment rate for people who have less than a high school diploma. And you can see that that unemployment rate goes down, 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 down as you get more education. And so you're just more in demand. So education really does pay off. It's very important. So the next thing is that this is just the same information illustrated a little bit differently. The solid green bar all the way across is what you're going to make if you are a dropout. And then that checkered green bar is the differential in what you would make as a dropout versus if you get a doctorate degree. Look at that. It's 3 times as much money. And that's just your average. So it makes a huge difference in the long run. And this is the bachelor's degree, the 4-year degree, double the money. So you really do, if you stay in school, it pays off for your entire life. This is just another way to illustrate it. And these are different kinds of this is income versus education level, and it's different kinds of jobs. But you can see that those degrees make a lot more money than the high school green bars, the flight attendant, the armed services, the medical assistant. One thing here is that the trades, the plumbers, the electricians, people like that, those usually involve an apprenticeship or something, but those jobs I think are going to be more and more and more in demand in the future. If you're not crazy about lots and lots of education, those jobs are really important because the old people like me are retiring, and those jobs are going to need to be filled, and there aren't going to be enough people to fill them. Then these blue bars represent the dropouts. And those levels are like a custodian, a food server, a laborer. And you can do those without education. But the thing to think about here is that if you get an accounting degree and you hate accounting, which I hate accounting, I can't stand anything to do with accounting. Debits and credits drive me crazy. So I would hate that. So if I'd gotten a degree as an accountant, then I could go back and I could do lots of these other degrees. People want to give you opportunities, because if you say, well, I went to school, I got an accounting degree, they're going to say, well, she's on the ball. She can do this. So I'll have an opportunity to do lots of these other positions. Whereas if I start out as a food server and I don't get any more education, I'm going to have to go back to school if I decide I want to do any of these other things. Okay, so this opens up your life to lots more choices. So we're going to go back a little bit to the budget sheet, and I've added some columns here. So the takeaway from this is not that, oh boy, there's a whole bunch more money. The takeaway from this is different kinds of choices. So you can see here that in the expenses, I've got, whereas rent's $400 here, it's about $1,000 here and $1,500 here. So if you want to see what kind of that represents housing wise, you can see that maybe this is the $400 house. I don't know how much those would be. I don't know where that picture came from, but it's kind of fun. This is maybe a house that you get for $1,000 a month. And then this one might be $1,500 a month. Maybe housing's not important to you. So you've got, but again, you've got choices there. But look at these things that you do have money for now. You can have health insurance. You can have that cell phone. You can have streaming services. You can have entertainment. You can go out to eat. You can go to movies. You can have an easier life that you're not so strapped all the time. Have a productive year and do the very best you can. And don't party like a dropout. Party like somebody who's successful and has made good choices in their life and is going to succeed. Thank you.
Wow, Connie, that was a lot of good information. Let me summarize by saying that more education means more. More income, of course, but also more choices and opportunities, and certainly more job satisfaction, doing something you enjoy your whole life. So don't sell yourself short. Get the education you need to have the life that you want.